All right, so today let's dive into something I think we all love to think about, or well, maybe not love, but at least something we all have to think about,
Mhm.
money.
Yeah.
Specifically, how to master your own personal finances.
Yes,
And you brought us an episode of the podcast, The Money Pit, to help us with this deep dive.
I did.
I'm really curious about their take on this whole topic.
Yeah, what I find interesting about the Money Pit is they don't just like throw out all this financial jargon at you.
Right.
They really try to dive into like the psychology of spending and saving.
Okay, so less spreadsheets and more like mind games.
Yeah, a little
I
bit.
like it.
Yeah.
So where do they suggest we start?
Well, they kick things off by talking about the importance of budgeting.
Okay.
But I like how instead of just saying like track your expenses,
Mm.
they actually get into like why people resist budgeting.
Right.
They acknowledge it can feel like a drag,
Yeah.
but then they actually offer a really approachable solution, which is the 50-30-20 rule.
Okay, the 50-30-20 rule.
Yeah.
You were mentioning before we started recording how you've been struggling to like save money consistently.
Mm-hmm.
This rule could be like a game changer for that.
Yeah.
Basically, it breaks down your income so that 50% goes to needs,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
rent bills, groceries, all the essentials,
Exactly.
and then 30% is allocated for your wants.
Your wants, yeah.
So that's your dining out.
Yeah, entertainment, travel, all the fun stuff.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not about like depriving yourself. It's about being mindful.
Right.
And that leaves 20% for savings or paying down debt.
Precisely. And what's great is they emphasize that these percentages are flexible.
Okay.
They're really just guidelines, not like handcuffs.
Mm-hmm.
So you can tweak them based on, what your own financial goals are and where you are in life.
That makes it feel less intimidating.
Right.
Like it's about finding what works for you, not
Exact.
trying to fit into some rigid mold. So, okay, we've got a handle on where our money should be going.
Okay.
But what about the actual saving part?
Yeah.
Like the Money Pit had some pretty cool tips on that, right?
They did. Yeah. They're big fans of automating your savings,
Yeah.
which they call paying yourself first.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
It's like that money never even hit your checking account.
Exactly.
No more like agonizing over how much to save each month.
Yeah. It removes the decision fatigue.
Right.
And it makes saving a non-negotiable part of your financial routine.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what about those of us who feel like we're playing catch up? Like, how do we make our savings work harder for us?
That's where I think the Money Pit really blew my mind.
Okay.
When they were explaining compound interest.
Yeah.
They described it as interest earning interest,
Oh.
which sounds simple enough,
Right.
but then they actually broke down the numbers.
Okay, so give me an example.
Yeah.
How much of a difference can compound interest really make?
So let's just say you invest $50 a month and you start at age 25. Assuming a reasonable rate of return by the time you retire, you could have over $100,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That really highlights why starting early is so powerful.
Right.
Even if it's with small amounts.
Exactly.
It's like planting a money tree and letting it grow for decades.
Yeah, and even if you are starting a little bit later,
Right.
it's never too late to
Oh,
benefit from compound interest.
Okay.
The key is just to start investing consistently no matter how small the amount.
So we've covered budgeting and saving,
Yes.
but we can't forget about the elephant in the room.
Oh, the elephant in the room.
Debt.
Yes, yes.
The Money Pit didn't shy away from tackling that beast,
They did not.
did they?
They went straight for it.
So what's their game plan for tackling debt?
Well, they presented two main methods, the avalanche and the snowball.
Okay.
The avalanche method is all about efficiency.
Right.
You target the debt with the highest interest rate first,
Okay.
and you make minimum payments on your other debts.
So it's like you're strategically attacking the debt
Yeah.
that's costing you the most money.
Exactly.
In the long run.
Exactly.
Right.
But then they brought up an interesting point.
Okay.
For some people, the snowball method,
Yeah.
while not as mathematically efficient,
Okay.
can be more effective for staying motivated.
Okay. So how does the snowball method work?
Instead of focusing on interest rates, you just focus on paying off your smallest debt first,
Okay.
regardless of the interest rate.
Oh, okay.
So the idea is that each time you eliminate a debt,
Right.
no matter how small, you get that psychological boost.
Yeah.
That keeps you going.
So you're saying it's like choosing your debt fighting style.
Yeah.
Do you go for the strategic knockout punch
Uh-huh.
with the avalanche method or
Right.
build momentum with those smaller snowball victories?
Exactly. And I love how the Money Pit, they don't
Yeah.
push one method over the other
Right.
because they get it,
Uh-huh.
personal finance is personal. What works for one person
Right.
might not work for someone else, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, it's refreshing to hear that. It
Yeah.
takes the pressure off,
Mm.
trying to find that like perfect solution.
Right.
But with all this talk about like budgeting and saving and tackling debt,
Yeah.
it can feel overwhelming.
It's
Like, where do we even begin?
They had a really great point at the end.
Okay.
He said, mastering your finances is a journey, not a sprint.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
It's about making those small, consistent changes over time,
exactly.
not expecting some overnight miracle.
Yeah, and they actually challenge listeners to take one small action,
Right.
like right away.
What was it?
Even if it's just like
Yeah.
setting up a budget tracker
Mm-hmm.
or automating like a $10 transfer to your savings account,
Okay.
just taking that first step is like the key.
It's about proving to yourself that you're capable
Exactly.
of taking control.
Yeah.
And it can even be kind of exciting. Think about how good it feels to check something off your to-do list.
Yes.
Imagine that feeling, but with your money goals.
I love that.
So to wrap up this deep dive into the money pit, I think the big takeaway is that mastering your finances isn't about being a financial genius overnight.
Definitely not.
It's about building those positive money habits
Yeah.
and finding what works best for you.
Absolutely. And you know what?
What's that?
Every journey, including this journey toward like financial well-being, it begins with a single step.
So true.
What will your first step be?